Hey, welcome back. For those that are just tuning in, I'm Jessie. I'm here at the Wolfram Tech Conference 2017. I'm just talking with developers and people using our tech in kind of interesting ways. And right now I'm here with Etienne, who will tell us a little bit about what he does here at the company and some of the new kind of features he's been working on. So,
hi.
Hey.
Okay, so should I just start?
Yeah, I mean,
telling...
so what's your name?
Okay, so
And
my
what do
name
you
is Etienne Bernard, and I've been working at Wolfram for almost 5 years now, in the domain of machine learning. And so I've been developing functions, machine learning functions for the Wolfram Language. And now I'm the manager of the machine learning team, which is about, I don't know, a dozen of people now.
So,
And, yeah.
So we just talked to Shadi, and she mentioned that they're implementing a lot of these new neural net features for image and audio processing. So can you tell me a little bit more about the family of net functions, as I kind of just call them now?
Yeah, there are many functions that we're working on. So the first one was image identify, which was 2 years, almost 2 years and a half ago, I think.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while, but still quite good, I think. And since then, we are kind of working on many more projects of this kind, such as things for speech to text, or things for not just, so image identify is about finding what's the main object in an image, but we also want to do a function that finds all the objects in an image, some sort of object detection. And as often, a big part is to gather the data set. And it's exciting now because the image processing team is working more with us. So now we have common meetings, and it's nice that many more people are using the neural network framework to create these functions.
So I read your recent blog post on the Wolfram blog, and you talked about something called the fully automated data scientist. I don't know what that is, so do you want to explain a little bit?
Yes, I mean, personally, that's something that I'm very interested in, and it's kind of the end goal. Is to have a system to which you could just, throw the data at and just start having conversation with. Even, for example, in the blog, I think I was using the example of...
It's like a baker or something.
Yeah, a
like
baker.
Okay,
a baker that connected database to this automated data scientist application, and that ask, okay, how many croissants am I going to sell next Sunday? And the system will look at the data, historical data. We'll also take data from outside. For example, it might add, I don't know, data about the weather that it was each days, because it figured that it would be relevant to predict the amount of sales for a given day. And then we just answer in natural language. Well, according to my data, external data, and so on, I predict that you will sell between 60 and 70 croissants.
So so the neural nets are supposed to. That's kind of the fully automated feature, because traditional data science is, you have humans interpreting the data and kind of making inferences about it. So are the neural nets sort of the analog to this human interpretation? Is that what you're hoping will eventually happen with this?
So it's quite different. I mean, so maybe just to clarify what we're working on. Okay. There's on one part there is these high-level functions, such as classify or predict. Whose goal is to be so it's not fully automated data scientist, because it's just about the modeling part. Okay. To have automated data scientist, there's some other steps involved, but definitely the goal is to make data science as easy as possible. Right? That even someone that doesn't know about machine learning, for example, can just have a data set, plug it, put it into classify, and it will produce something. The neural network part is a bit more for experts, so it's a bit more for people that know a bit more what they're doing, want to play around with the model, have more control, more flexibility as well. And although we also try to make this neural network framework as easy to use as possible, and I think honestly it's probably the easiest framework to use that is out there. Like we had some stories of people that were like, if it wasn't that easy in Mathematica, I wouldn't have done. One story that I don't know that I like is the story of Daniel George, with PhD students at the LIGO experiment, the one that detecting gravitational waves. Yeah, and he used a framework to, for example, to classify the different events. You know, they are measuring gravitational waves, and then they're trying to figure out, is it, you know, two black holes that collide, or two neutron stars that collide, like it happened. It has been announced a few days ago.
Right.
And for that, they need a classifier, and he used our framework to train a neural network in order to classify the type of events. And he was saying, really, if it wasn't that easy, I wouldn't have done it. So we also try to make the neural network framework as easy as possible. But it's a bit of a different goal. Like, it's a bit to separate, although we use neural network inside the fully automated functions. And then there's this third thing that you mentioned, is using our tools with our data to create function for the language, such as image identify and so on.
So I guess with the, 11.3 is going to be coming out soon. What are some, neural nets were introduced in version 11, like 11.0, I think. 11, So what are some big improvements that are going to be implemented in 11.3 that were not in 11.2?
Okay, so 11.3, there won't be so many visible improvements. There will be a few extra layers.
Okay.
There will be a way to manipulate the network better. That's something that I'm quite happy about, is that our neural network are represented symbolically, like it's an expression.
Right, yeah.
Right, which is, which people know well about when they use Wolfram Language. Although in other languages it's pretty different. The way you define a network is really with a classical program type thing, and then you cannot really manipulate this network well. Whereas us, you can, take a network, chop it off, add a new layer very easily, replace a layer, and there's a bunch of tools to do kind of neural network surgery in a way that will be added to 11.3. This is quite exciting. And another thing that we are very excited is what will happen after, probably in version 12 maybe.
In the future, the far
exactly.
off future.
In the far, not that far. It's to kind of generalize our framework to be even more flexible. That's, I think it's a common trend in neural network framework that at first programming a neural network is a bit programming with a graphical language. Like you say, oh, you have some different layers and you're connecting them this way, And but this sometimes have limitation. Sometimes you want to write in a more like classic programming way, like for example with loops or if statements. And in domains such as natural language processing, that's very powerful. There's some model that is very hard to express with just one fixed graph. And so there have been some framework out there that are doing that, and right now we're thinking very hard about the best design to integrate this type of to add this kind of additional expressivity to how to define networks, but in the same time still keeping it very easy, and which I think is a very appealing feature of our framework. So,
well, like just about, like you mentioned, people who use Wolfram Language will know this, but everything, including actual front-end like notebook files, are symbolic Wolfram Language code. So it's not surprising that these neural networks are also manipulatable, if that's a word. You can manipulate them. Cool. Well, thanks for talking to me, Etienne. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And again, if you have comments, just leave them down in the comment section. We can't get to it during these live sessions, but someone will get back to you later. Also, check out community.wolfram.com. Someone probably already had your question at some point, or maybe they didn't. So who knows? You can start a new discussion. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.